Let's do it.
All right. Hey everybody, welcome to break time. Oh, I can't reach my box from here. So hopefully you pulled out a moon pie or a granola bar or a fudge Snickers or something. Scott, I asked for healthy food. You just had a stent put in, and Dan just had bypass surgery, for gosh sakes. So anyhow, we've got three wonderful sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. Doug from National Society for Legal Technology, Paige Wren from LexisNexis, and Colin LeChance from VLex Justice. And the first one up is going to be, and then we'll have questions during and after. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Doug.
Wonderful. Let me share my screen there. So my name is Doug Lusk. I am the CEO at National Society for Legal Technology. I'm also an adjunct professor at Fullerton College, Mount San Antonio College, Damon College, and UC Berkeley Extension. I teach law office technology and computers in the law office for paralegals, as well as e-discovery software applications. And so as soon as there we go. And next week is our 5-year anniversary. So take a second there to celebrate. We were planning on throwing a big old party to celebrate at CALIcon. So this is it. You get this wonderful minute is our 5-minute, our chance for our 5-year celebration. So this semester, we were used in 152 universities as the classroom curriculum, the textbook for the law office technology classes, as well as law practice management or computers in the law office. So that's exciting that we've come a long ways there when we started. We started as a student club 5 years ago. And then 3 years ago, we had a school that loved what our club was doing and moved it into the classroom. And it's been a snowball ever since. And we've been running to keep up with that change. This year, since last Cali, we've added a few new programs to our lineup. We've added Microsoft Teams, Office 365, Best Authority, and I Manage Work 10. So those are some new changes and updates since the last CALIcon. Our biggest new surprise, this was also going to be a big unveil celebration at CALIcon, is we are adding an e-discovery technology certificate to go along with our law office technology certificate. This will entail that students learn 10 different software programs. We're covering everything from data collection to trial presentation. So here's what's in our lineup. It's going to be case map, time map, text map, law pre-discovery from CLOUDNINE, iConnect version 10, Everlaw, Concordance desktop, Venio 1, CLOUDNINE review, Sanction 4. We plan on continuing to add to this lineup once we get past our initial launch stage and get some more time for programming. So in 2021, we're going to add to that lineup, bringing in Pinpoint Labs Harvester program, Nuix, Disco. So we're excited about all of that and have had a huge success with us teaching how software programs work. A lot of fantastic feedback from our students as well as from instructors. But one thing they were giving us is, we want more theory. We want more context to the software programs. We want more broad scope instruction of the overall category. So we went, hey, absolutely, we can do that. And we turned to the experts in e-discovery and went, hey, how about come do this project with us? So our e-discovery certificate will carry the ACEDS brand and the NSLT brand as a joint project for a way to teach e-discovery. So the ACEDS will provide big theory picture lectures. Students will complete 18 hours of online interactive theory lectures with ACEDS, as well as complete the 10 different software program instructions created by my team at the NSLT. This is really going to be a big change in the way we teach e-discovery, giving them a lot of hands-on simulated applications. Now, I know there's a lot of schools that already do e-discovery, doing a lot of hands-on, want to get our, play with the live software. Whereas all of our stuff is simulations, which works out nicely during this whole coronavirus stage where we can't get into computer labs and students don't have all of those access. Using our online simulations, we're able to keep all of those classes running nice and smooth throughout this whole thing. But for the schools who do want to play in that and really want to get their hands dirty into that type of a thing, we're building, oh, sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. Let me come back really quick. So our course is laid out as a 3-credit e-discovery software applications course. Again, it'll cover the 10 software programs that we have laid out before. It'll cover lessons, everything from how to launch the program through advanced features of the program. Everything's done as interactive lessons. And then the lecture videos provided by ASET. So this is going to give your school a great opportunity to teach e-discovery when you may not have an instructor that is that up to date on current technology. As long as they can understand big picture concepts of the e-discovery, we kind of provide everything else that you're going to need. We're going to give you kind of a plug and play type of an option so that you're good to go right from the start. We will teach how all the buttons work, so your professors don't have to understand the details to every software program. We walk them through all of that. We are deploying it so that you have a Canvas course shell ready to go, a Blackboard course shell ready to go for the schools on D2L. You can take a Blackboard course, you can upload that into D2L. Again, we're trying to make it so your school doesn't have to put a lot of time into course development, that a lot of that is handled for you and make it a lot easier to deploy right away. So for the schools who wanted hands-on practice with it, we teamed up with some of our programs that we are doing the simulations to, and they're providing sandboxes. So iConnect, Everlaw, and Cloud9 Review will all have a sandbox that you can install into your computer labs. Your students can log in. A lot of these are now building out as online sandboxes, so your students can log in from their home and play in live software that then they can manipulate it, the documents and get work with their hands-on. So that's an exciting feature to it. Yeah, so that's what's cool and new from us. Our e-discovery course is still being finalized. We're putting the final touches on that. It'll be ready for instructors to view the first week of July, and we'll have schools in it this fall. We've already got about 40 schools that's bought into the program almost sight unseen because they loved our law office technology course and what it's done for them there. So we're excited for that to roll out. If you do want to get your hands on and play with our new program when it launches in July, you can shoot me an email and I'm happy to give you login controls to that so that you can go in and see what the course looks like. You can play around and take the lessons, see what your students are going to be seeing. I'll be sending out a syllabus update. Make sure we put that out and get that information out as well. Yeah, so that's what's new and cool. Any questions?
Folks, put your questions in the Q&A.
Let's see if there is anything out there. And yeah. Our pricing model, we could cover that. So a lot of our schools use this as the textbook. So the students make the purchase for the NSLT access instead of buying the textbook for the course. That's the easiest way to deploy it out and how probably 90% of our schools deploy that. Our Law Office Technology certificate program is $120. It gives your students a year-long access. So even after your semester is over, they can come back in and do that. Our e-discovery course will be $160. Our Law Office Tech is moving to $160 starting January 1st. Are we going to put, so let's take a question here from Becca. Are you going to put the eDiscovery modules into NSLT? Yes, everything will be in the NSLT portal. So if you're using the LawOffice technology system now, it'll function exactly the same way. It will be a separate purchase though. So if you're currently using the LawOffice tech, you won't get the eDiscovery. You will have to upgrade your access to add in the LawOffice tech, or then that way you can buy it separate. So if you're doing eDiscovery in year 3, but you've done LawOffice in year 2, your students can buy them separate and piece it out. It is also something that students can do on their own. So if you don't have a class and you get a student who wants to take their education further, this is something they can come to our website and do completely independent of anything going on at your school. Won't require any additional buy-in from your school or any formal adoption. Question from Kathleen, how has the pandemic affected what you're doing? It has increased our business like crazy because suddenly everybody who was working in computer labs needed to figure out how to take their lessons online. Our system is completely all online. Instructors can pop in and see what lessons their students are taking. They can see that kind of back-end control. And have a lot of access to that. And so we saw a lot of our classes had a smooth, seamless transition from going from the classroom to going online. We did get a lot of last minute panic calls and we moved people in quickly. So last question, how to evaluate learners as they progress through the modules? All of our learning lessons have a knowledge check right after to make sure they were paying attention. It will ask them true false questions, multiple choice questions for everything that we taught about. And if we taught them how to perform a task, they will go through and push the buttons and perform the task. So we are making sure they understand how the buttons work and how that system goes. And it is making sure that they have the competency as they move throughout the course. Okay, well, I think that's probably all of my time. And
Great, Doug.
any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paige?
Hello, okay, let me share my screen here. Hello, everyone. I am Paige Wren. I am the LexisNexis Digital Library Specialist and Account Executive for the Digital Library. I have a law degree from Pepperdine University and also a certificate in entrepreneurship and technology law from the Palmer Center. I'm also the recipient of 2 awards in law school, copyright law and law and biotechnology. So thank you for that. I've been with LexisNexis since 2011 and with the digital library for about 5 years. I work with all of our markets. So I help law schools, law firms, courts, government offices, large and small, and administrative offices to help them move their print collections over to the LexisNexis Digital Library platform. So I put a couple of slides together and then I thought we'd go over to the live site and take a look at the live Lexis Digital Library site. So what is the LexisNexis Digital Library? We are powered by Overdrive. So Lexis contains the largest collection of legal ebooks anywhere. And our platform provider since day one, which was 2012, is Overdrive. So many of you probably used Overdrive in your public library setting. They provide the platform, they host the content, and we provide the LexisNexis ebooks and all of our third-party publisher content. They also have content in their catalog that you can add to your Lexis Digital Library platform. They have millions of titles from 5,000 publishers as well. You can read books online or in your browser or offline with an app. We currently have 80,000 digital library users at LexisNexis, and that comprises judges, clerks, law librarians, attorneys at those federal, state, and local courts and agencies. We have public patrons at state and county public law libraries are using our digital library. We have attorneys, paralegals, librarians at large and small law firms. And about half of all of our ABA accredited law schools have the digital library. So how we differ from just a regular Overdrive site is that Overdrive has tailored the platform to meet the needs of the legal researcher. So you can search by keywords or phrases across a multi-volume set or within individual ebooks. There's seamless filing of your ebook updates. You can link to cited sources within Lexis Advance, so there are hot links in the books. So you can further your research into cases, statutes, codes, any primary law, seamlessly right into Lexis Advance. So it does really tie together the book research with the Lexis Advance online legal research quite well. We can integrate with your library catalog, and you'll see when I get onto the live site that you can easily add highlights and bookmarks, annotate the ebooks, you can export your work product. There's so much you can do in the ebooks that you wouldn't be able to do in a print book necessarily. So I talked about the third-party content. We have third-party content directly through LexisNexis and our publisher alliances. So we have Carolina Academic Press content that you can buy right through LexisNexis and add to your digital library platform. We have study aid packages that include unlimited simultaneous access for all law students to Understanding series. We have the Q&A series, Mastering series, Students Guide to series, and Skills and Values series. And we also have casebook packages. We have a comprehensive casebook package where your students can have access to all of the CAP casebooks, or we can customize a casebook package for you. James Publishing is another one of our alliance partners. We have ABA on the digital library. All of the different vendors that you can see here, CSC, Florida Bar, they're all available directly through LexisNexis. I mentioned earlier that you can add content from Overdrive. So they have 4 million titles from 5,000 publishers. If you're interested in looking what they have out there, you can just go to overdrive.com. On the homepage, there's a button that says Browse Our Catalog, and you can look around there. But there's a lot of content. It's really endless for what you can put on the digital library platform. So I often get asked, how does an ebook differ from the digital library, and how does a print book differ from the digital library? So the ebooks are on the digital library, and how we differ from print, I've laid out here in a series of benefits, features, and also from a perspective of cost savings. So first, it's environmentally friendly to have a digital library versus a print book. You can annotate, bookmark, highlight, I've mentioned those, but you can also translate and define the words right in the ebooks themselves. You can link out to Lexis Advance. You can also link out to Google and Wikipedia. So all of that is available right in the ebooks. We've also added a newer enhancement called Search the Set, and that will allow you to search across a multi-volume set by keyword or phrase, essentially bypassing a table of contents or an index. And you can jump right into that passage in the ebook. For the administrators, there's also a backend portal called the Overdrive Marketplace. And there you can streamline your library operations. You can get youth access to usage reports and strategic tools. You can distribute publications, curate collections. You can do a lot in the Marketplace site as well. There's lots of great graphs, as you'll see. There's a couple there, but you can really get a full bird's eye view of what's happening in your library. Usage, titles, checkouts, anything that you want to know that's happening, you can see it in the digital library Overdrive Marketplace site. Access is anywhere, anytime to your collection and archives, and that goes back to 2012 for the archive content for all of your employees and students. And also the access is unlimited simultaneous for all of our ebook content from LexisNexis, as well as our packages through Carolina Academic Press. We also have a new app where you can instantly download ebooks for offline reading with no additional software required. I mentioned before that you can add to your collection from Overdrive's catalog, but you can add content that you all have the copyrights to. So if you want to store and circulate your own publications, you can do that as well. When you sign up for the digital library and you move your print collection over to the digital library, we apply a matching print discount to your print. If you still want to keep your print on the shelves, we're happy to help you achieve that goal. And so for all of your single LexisNexis copies, we provide 100% discount for all of your single copies. There's also shipping cost savings, and I can talk about that if anyone wants more information. Feel free to reach out to me on how we can help you save money with shipping costs. We also have low and fixed annual contract increases on the digital library. So it's more predictable year after year. And then just all the time and money you'd save with shelving and file servicing and replacing and updating print books. We do have full support. So we provide a lot of marketing materials to help you all get the word out. We have posters and signs and business cards that we'll print for you, launch guides and quick start guides, startup videos. We even have book stickers that you can put on your print books that will let readers know that they can go to the digital library and read that book in there as well. And then we have full support and training. So you have a 3-member team, you have a consultant through the Lexis Digital Library who's with you every step of the way, as well as your Overdrive account manager and your Lexis client manager to order content or work with invoicing. So let me jump out of here. Looks like I have a few minutes left, so I'm going to jump to the live site right here. And move over to the digital library. There we are. So this is the live digital library site. As you can see, I just opened my browser, and if you did have an app, we have the digital library app as well. You just open your app and you'd be right into this site. You'll see that we have a new app interface. If anyone has used the digital library in the past, we just rolled out a new digital library interface as of this January, and I'd like to announce that we're also the winners of AALL's 2020 New Product Award for this year for this new interface. So they're simpler reading. It's really an enhanced reading experience with a personalized homepage. So when a user logs on, they're going to see what they've recently read, their annotations. Coming in the future will be an enhancement where content will be pushed to them from the administrators. So they really do get a personalized view of their digital library. They can browse your full collection here on the left. They can look at any books that they've tagged as their favorites right here. Any annotations that they put in are right here. And so you'll see all these annotations. I don't even have to open up the book anymore. I can just go in and pick out those annotations. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to click on those, and you'll see I can add that to my export queue. And it tells me down at the bottom, it's been added to my export queue. And when I go over to my export queue, I have all of the annotations that I've tagged. I just click on those and I can easily export into Google Drive, PDF, or CSV. Up here at the top, if I want to search for a book, I can search by title, author, or practice area. I can also look at what I've recently read. That will all be up here on my desktop. I'm going to click read on this title. You'll notice I don't need to click borrow anymore since the books are set to unlimited simultaneous access for all of the Lexis content. I just click and read and I'm in. So I've been in this book before. The digital library remembers that, so it drops me to where I last left off. So I'm in the ebook now. There's bookmarking feature up at the top here. I can also color code with a rainbow of colors here. If I want to highlight any text, I can do that. I can print up at the top. I can print a section of the book or pick a page range. Up here, I can search by keyword or phrase. Any of my annotations are all here. So you'll see I have a list of everything I've done in the book before. If I do want to get rid of any of those, I just swipe to the left and I can get rid of those as well. And then my settings are over here. And so if I want to change my settings, I can change reading settings, my font, justification, anything of that nature. So it's essentially having a book at my fingertips, both offline and online. And it's as easy as that. I have a portable library. When your library doors are closed, like they are now, you have the ability to have your students have access to all of your print materials and all of their study aids and case books at the touch of a fingertip. So thank you for your time. I will jump back over here to the
Thanks, Paige.
to the site and see if there's any questions.
There's a couple.
Okay.
Do you want me to read them to you, or do you want to pop
Yeah,
over?
that'd be great if you could read them.
So Mary Lito asks, could this be used for course reserves? I have hard copies of text I would normally put on course reserves, but that doesn't work remotely. In other words, I assume that means, can you put your own content into into the system.
If you have the legal rights to distribute and publish anything that you have a copyright to, then that can be uploaded and circulated on the Lexis Digital Library. So you do that on the Overdrive Marketplace site, that backend portal site for the administrators. There's a spot there, we call it local content, and there you'd be able to upload your local content and then circulate it out.
Got it, got it. And I assume there's like buttons to either restrict that only to people from your institution or to make it more widely available. Does that make sense?
So when you sign up for the digital library, we custom tailor your digital library for each individual customer. So where you're seeing the Lexis logo up at the top here, that will be replaced with your logo. And then all of your authorized users would have their own way of authenticating in. So it would just be accessible to your authorized users at your organization.
And so that leads into the second question. Is the digital library available to members of the public who come into a law library, or is it only students and faculty who have Lexis passwords?
Yeah, so in a law school setting, members of the public can go in to the law school and use the digital library. It's IP based, so they have to be within the 4 walls of the library to use the digital library. And if they were just on their laptop or they brought their own mobile device, they'd log in with the school's digital library address and be able to click on a guest access entrance button.
Excellent. And it was Melissa Bernstein. Thanks, Melissa, for that. Last question I see. Oh, no, there's a few more. Sue Zago is asking, are you planning to include audio and video content? So I'm assuming audible books or streaming or video?
Yeah, so we are looking into that, and we do have capabilities through the Overdrive marketplace content. So there are audiobooks and videos there as well.
Interesting. So what if a law school wanted to post their videos in the Overdrive marketplace? There's got to be some sort of disk space limitations there.
So it's fairly unlimited, and we that is considered part of that local content that I talked about. Mm-hmm. And so law schools can upload their videos and distribute them out as well onto the digital library platform. There's different variations of video extensions that are allowed and capable on the digital library site. So if anyone has any further questions, I can dig into that and get them further information.
And so you're the contact person if a school is interested in this?
I am, and I'm gonna put up that information here. So Good. Here is my email address. Oops, sorry about that. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so there's my email address. It's page.ren@lexisnexis.com, and that's HREN. You can text me too. You can call me. I'm always available. So feel free to drop me a line.
Do you want to take a couple more questions? We have a minute or so.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, because they're getting harder. So I see a nutshell on your screen. What's your deal with West Academic, I guess?
So West Academic content is available through the Overdrive Marketplace site. So if customers want to purchase that through their Overdrive Marketplace site, that can go into circulation on the Lexis Digital Library.
Fascinating, fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of legal content through the Overdrive Marketplace catalog. Taylor and Francis, a lot of university publications. There's Nolo Press. Wiley is available on the Overdrive Marketplace catalog as well.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that question, Mary Wisner. Emily Barney, of course, with the tough questions. There's no way to restrict a playlist by class list to specific users. Assuming, yeah, some fair use restrictions would be challenging if it's accessible to the whole school. So it sounds like it's a situation where a faculty member wants only the students in their class to see something. And so that's granularity in your permission system or in the Overdrive permission system, right?
Yeah, so typically we set the digital library access for all students at the law schools as well as staff and professors.
Yeah, highly granular permission systems are tricky stuff. Well, great. Thank you very much, Paige. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
And we're ready for Colin. Colin, share your screen.
Thank you, John. I'll be sharing the screen in a moment. I'm going to do 2 things to start off. The first thing is I'm going to send the note to everyone with my name and contact information.
Paige, stop sharing your screen, please. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
And the second thing I'm going to do is, for those who like to read ahead, adding another link into the chat. Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and participate. My first CALIcon was in 2014 at the Harvard Law School. So I want to start by changing my background to Harvard. That's it. It's a way of throwing back. VLEX justice may be familiar to some of you, not necessarily to others. So what I'm going to be doing today is giving an introduction to who we are, a little bit of our details on our relationship with law schools, and then move into a bit of a product demo. Happy to take as many questions as you have online and offline as we go along. So rather than go with the slide, I wanted to play with Zoom backgrounds. How's that? So VLEX, it began in Spain 20 years ago, in sort of the standard legal startup mode of lawyer shakes fists at sky saying there has to be a better way in terms of bringing digital legal information online. Over the past 20 years, VLEX had expanded throughout Spain and Southern Europe, in through Latin America, and into the US as well. So the company was co-headquartered between Miami and Barcelona. The CEO is in Miami, team responsible for content licensing, and Latin America is all based in Miami. The CTO, CFO, and a lot of the sales team was in Barcelona. But the story doesn't end there. So the next is little Canada, little wave the Canadian flag. That's where I'm sitting right now. I'm in Ottawa. My role with VLEX is as general manager for North America. My connection into how I came to be working with VLEX in the past few years is there was a company in Canada called Maritime Law Book. It was a publisher of semi-official law reports. So for over half of Canadian jurisdictions, there was no official law reporter. Maritime Law Book filled the gap. Unfortunately, they shut down as a print-first digital laggard. They shut down a few years ago, and we pulled together some folks to build upon what they had, including a key number system modeled decades ago off the West model. So the Canadian collection had 150 topics, 48,000 subtopics, and a whole lot more information to let people discover the law. So Canadian content moved into VLEX about 3 years ago with the launch of VLEX Canada, and a friend to CALIcon Justia was a party to ensuring that was possible. So the last string that connects together here is coming out of the UK. So some of you may be familiar with Justice. They had a product called Just Cite. Justice One has been their flagship product for the past few years. A year ago, VLEX acquired Justice. Now, whereas VLEX history came out of the civil jurisdiction, Justice's history came out of the common law jurisdiction. Naturally the UK, but also Ireland, Caribbean, and other jurisdictions such as there's content from Australia, New Zealand, India, Singapore, Malaysia, and so on. So for the past year or so, we've been pulling together all of the companies and all the efforts to look something like this. So these four flags are not even close to beginning to tell the whole story. We actually have staff in 12 different countries, and we serve far more than that. So these are the primary jurisdictions for now. And in terms of the type of content that we have, from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, it varies. You name it, we've got it somewhere. And so what this all adds up to is a collection that is the largest civil law collection globally, the largest common law collection globally in terms of primary law. And from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, some of these are fully comprehensive, going down to local courts. Others will stay at national courts or superior court levels. But in all, we have about 120 million documents from 130 countries. Additionally, we have indexed content from another 130 or so sources. So we've been around and we've got stuff. I'm going to go back to this for now, and I'm going to switch a little bit to tell you about some of our relationships with law schools, because it's great that we have information, but really, you want to know, if you haven't heard of us before, you want to have a sense of who we are. And now I'm going to, oh, sorry, I forgot to share the screen. 1 second. There we go.
There it is.
Like I said, for the people who want to read ahead, this is what I sent them. So VLEX or Justice or VLEX Justice is currently found in over 200 law schools, including 19 of the top 25 law schools globally among the world university rankings. Additionally, we have clients with about 6,500 clients globally in all market segments. At the private practice side of things, for example, well, about 2 months ago now, we announced a deal with State Bar of Kentucky. So every attorney in Kentucky has access to VLEX US. In Canada, every attorney in the province of Alberta has access to VLEX US, VLEX Canada, and VLEX UK. So we've got a fair bit of stuff from different clients, or sorry, different verticals in different places, pardon me. The Zoom overlay is preventing me from seeing the buttons I want to press. Here we go. In addition to selling into law schools, we actually do a lot of work in collaborating with law schools. So where I am locally, VLEX is working on a project with University of Ottawa and its CIPIC clinic, the Canadian Internet Policy and Public Interest Clinic. It's like the Canadian version of the Electronic Frontier Foundation. We're using our technology, our platform, to co-develop with them a research platform that will be free to all users that addresses everything to do with communications law. So telecom, broadcasting, and internet policy work. The idea is this is an incredibly complex subject. It touches everybody's interests, and the public needs a better way to engage. So we're using our facilities and in collaboration with them to develop services to make it easier for the public to find out how to work with this information, and also for civil society groups to move forward. Now, in part of what we're doing in this initiative, we're actually unbundling our back-end service as well. So the infrastructure that we use to build our research tools is also being made available to them to have access to some of the underlying AI functionality. Now, in the remaining minutes, because I think nobody wants to spend too much time on a plain old product demo, but I certainly can't talk exclusively about who we are and the relationships without getting into some of the product aspects. So the VLEX Justice platform is something that makes all of our content available irrespective of the nature of your subscription. So if for schools that subscribe to us for global services at a national level, for example, in the US, we have about, I believe about 40 law schools that are subscribing to our VLEX global service. And so they're getting national level access to constitutional courts, Supreme Courts, federal legislation, and so on for upwards of 100 countries. But if they wanted to go deep, for example, into dockets in the UK, this is something that they can get exposed to through the primary VLEX search service, whether or not they have a subscription. Now, it doesn't cause them to incur a payment, but it can expose them to the material, and we have credit access to individual documents. So when someone's carrying out a search, let's see, computer doesn't want to respond to my click here. Here we go. When someone's carrying out a search, they can decide if they want to search all jurisdictions or just the one that matters to them in that particular point in time. The options exist also for browsing through. So if my particular account happens to be domiciled in Canada, so as a result, the initial view is showing me the things that are featured in Canada. But if I wanted to flip through and see more jurisdictions, I can tag that, and you'll see that it's going to pop up and give me some more jurisdictions. Let's say I want to zero in on something in South America. I can work my way through and say, today I want to get into something narrowly focused within Colombia. So just as I can search through to it, I can browse my way through to it as well. And so at this point, I can differentiate between whether I want to look through case law, books and journals, and all sorts of other things. So right now, here we go. Yeah, official gazettes, regulations, dictionaries, and so on. You can see blogs, for example, back here. In addition to primary law materials and licensed secondary source materials and some open source materials, we also have current awareness materials from newspapers, as well as JD Supra, Mondac, and LexBlog. And that's all pulled into here as well. Now, in terms of how a search would operate, I'm going to use a search that, of course, naturally I tested this to make sure it would deliver the result I wanted initially. So I'm going to type in proximate causation. That's going to say, is that what you want? Sure, I want proximate causation. And the reason I chose this is because I knew what the top result would be. Even though I'm doing all jurisdictions, and as it begins to load, what's funny, it's the delay on your screen seems to be about a solid 10 seconds from the presentation on my screen. So I'm going to wait for it to load on yours. There it is. The top result here is an E. Langdell book from Cali.
Good move.
Yes, thank you. And so, but what you'll see when this loads here is how the material, like secondary source material, can be unbundled according to the structure of the document, as well as be presented in full. So again, this seems to be delayed loading. I should have checked to see who in my family was streaming YouTube or on their own conference calls before getting on this call.
Watching Netflix.
Exactly. So
and I was about to cut you off. Your 10 minutes are pretty close. So
I'm looking at 22 seconds on my timer as,
okay.
it cuts down. So anyways, I won't go through too much there, but the information can be reviewed there. It can be reviewed in its original PDF. When we bring material in, we present both the clean HTML version to work with and engage with, as well as the original PDF. We have tools such as Vincent, which is an intelligent assistant to analyze material. And we can also have you connect your Dropbox and other tools with our VLEX Drive service. So you can get a little bit more in there. So I've used up my time. My own personal timer also alerted me to that too. So thanks, and I look forward to your questions.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Colin. Nothing in the question queue right this moment, but I have a couple of questions.
Sure, fire away.
You said AI. Talk AI to me.
Talk AI to you. So AI is math. So before anybody thinks I'm trying to make it sound fancier than it is. So mathematically, we know a lot about the content in our database. So we know about the relationships from case to case, from citation of authorities from one to the next. We have models based on topic extraction, semantic similarity across documents, as well as key phrases and so on. So we know so much, like right down to which paragraphs of a particular document are the most popular in terms of being referenced elsewhere. So the AI tool that we have called Vincent, which stands for VLEX Insights, makes use of that information to help people discover content without running through traditional searches. So primary example in a professional context would be you're writing a brief. You've cited all the relevant authorities to your mind. You run it through and Vincent will tell you, well, what about these 4 or 5 that you've missed, based on really strong relationships to the content of your material versus the other. And Vincent can run that analysis based on material that you upload dynamically, or based on material that already exists in the database. So that's an application of AI to accelerate discovery, content discovery, get strong recommendations, and really enhance the overall confidence you have in your results. In an academic context, I would certainly, if I was writing something for a legal research and writing class, I would certainly run something through this to see what I missed. And we do have instructors. In fact, just before this, I was presenting our Vincent AI to a law school class precisely around the subject of carrying out their research work.
Interesting. Interesting. So what's the pricing model like?
So,
if you're able to talk about it, or
sure,
go ahead.
sure. So I'll talk about it from the academic perspective as well as from the professional perspective. The academic models, pricing models that we have are full institution, unlimited users, IP access as well as remote, and generally it varies according to the content sense that people want. So a typical American law school client of ours who's using VLEX Global is paying between 12 and 18,000 annually. And that's giving them access to the global collection at a federal level. Organizations that want to go deeper by adding on a particular collection, let's say you have a professor who's doing a lot of work in Latin America, we can bolt on specific country collections as well as we go along. In the professional market, our primary law plus secondary source collection, so in the US, that would be about 20 million documents in total. The rate, including Vincent, including the Dropbox access, is $79 per month, non-contracted. Bar associations and other group purchasing and law firm purchasing obviously benefits from discounts.
Volume discounts, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Excellent. If there's any other questions that anybody has for any of the presenters, now's the time. Colin, Doug, Paige, thank you very much. I'm filling time here while we see if any questions pop into the Q&A. Do you have any questions for each other or for me? That's a risky ask. How many Zoom? Oops, there we go. I seem to be on Zoom 4 or 5 times a day lately, and that's not just this conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my 4th today.
Oh my goodness. Do any of you work with NELCO? Northeast Law Library Consortium, I believe?
Yeah, so with VLEX, I'd say about half of our participating US law schools are through NELCO, and the other half purchase directly.
Cool. All right, great. Thanks, folks. That was wonderful. Let's wrap this up and see you in 4 minutes at the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.